Hello, everybody. It's me, Rebel Trader. Welcome back to Take the Initiative. Still got that close from yesterday, but we ball. We got Majar and UncleRico here. The way the bracket is looking, we're effectively in a top four situation. Winner of this one and the winner of our other match are going to both make the finals. No two ways about it. So let's take a look at these deck lists real quick. This is Majar's Spicy Quinlan with the main deck Parliamentarian, Bang Fighters. Not super relevant into this matchup because Rigo's just on Han Blue. But he's also got some spice in there with the Octobogdos, the Mace Windows, or it's just the 1-7 cost and the 2-6. Not quite as spicy as Wayuns, but he does have the Force Lightning, one on the main, one on the side. So I'm gonna give these players the go ahead. Who is it that's gonna start with the initiative? Looks like Rico is going to give it to himself. Interesting. Generally not where you want to be in Quinlan, but sometimes it's valuable to have the initiative. All right, he opens with the Grogu, which would be immune to Targeting Town or an Ezra, which would just force it out, I guess. My guess is it's the Grogu. I should mention Majar's coming off a win a couple days ago against Wayuns Han Blue, or was that yesterday? Was that yesterday or 2 days ago? I can't. Let me check. No, that was yesterday. Okay. Back-to-back Han Blues. Can he do it 2 days in a row? We're about to find out. All right, there's wish each other good luck. So, yep, Grogu comes down. Matched by the Adigalia. So no ping, because the Grogu is actually a 3-cost unit. Alright, Grogu going to move the damage over. Addy going to run into the Grogu for 2, which sets up 3 costs into Target Town play. Rigo's going to fire off a Force Throw. The Addy is going to ping the base for 1 because of that. Majar's going to pick if he wants. Oh, it looks like he's going to keep Cassian here, which puts the 3rd damage onto the Ezra, sets up, or onto the Grogu, sets up Target Town. Then the Ezra comes out. So now Majar's got to pick who he wants to target town, and it's going to be the Grogu. Which kind of makes sense. If Majar wants to play control, he can just run over the Ezra with that Cassian next turn. But Ezra does get a hit off. Generates the force. Majar is going to play control here. Clear that, Ezra. And here's the Mundi. Card draw matters a lot in these matchups. Serga's going to negate one of those cards that Rigo just drew and put the extra damage on the key, which does matter because now the key can't eat the Cassian. Rico gonna ram into the base there. Cassian also gonna ram into the base. And a turret comes down, and that's gonna be difficult to deal with for Majar. Leaders are both going to deploy here. Ahsoka going to waste that force token. Putting the damage on the turret. Now, the question is Rico going to be aggressive or is he going to play control here? He is going to play a bit of control. Clear out the Ahsoka. Now, does Majar have a hot shot here? He does not. But a red 5 is definitely solid. Now, Rico, I think, is contemplating taking initiative or trying to play out this Yaddle as a 2-2. He is going to play the Yaddle. I think that's wise. Majar is going to do the attack here, and he definitely should be doing that. All right. L3 comes down, going to ping one onto the Yaddle. There's that hot shot, bit late for that, but Majar does have the ability to start picking apart this board. He's got red 5, which can eat something. Depa, which can eat another thing with Quinlan ping, and then attack over something else. All right. The Kiadi is just going to take that Quinlan ping offline, but Ryu can still do quite a bit. Going to go Depa over the Han here, which arguably that's a mistake to do that now, because now Rico can Han in, or no, he can't Han because the Han just died. Never mind. I was going to say you get Han in the Luke, but he can't do that. And kill the red 5. All right, so there goes the chariot. Rico can play an Anakin, get rid of either L3 or Cassian. It's going to be L3 here. Force the Cassian to trade into the Yaddle. Majar definitely did a lot of work on the board there, but Rico's not in a horrible position. In fact, he's got this Luke coming down here. Oh, he can't actually quite kill the Depa. But you get Anakin into the Depa. And then you can drop a Luke. Even. Yeah, okay, so he has Anakin into the Depa. Red 5 finishes the Anakin. Luke kills the red 5. Leaving Rico now with the only big thing on the board. And the players even in terms of damage dealt. Kira, gotta call the Anakin. Ooh, Majar picks up a Han, which is super relevant here. Remember, with the Quinlan, the Han can just snipe out the Luke from full health. But the one big hit might be a difference maker. Rico dropping a full health Ezra. You don't see that a ton. It's like they trade hits on the base. Falcon coming up for Majar. Force throw does a damage to the Falcon, which puts it in Luke range, which is not insignificant. Managed to get 3 in there, and there's that Luke. Clear the Falcon. Forcing Majar to take initiative here. Because Luke is presenting lethal, and it looks like that's going to be it. UncleRico taking revenge for Wayun. And bringing this Han to victory over the Quinlan. And UncleRico is 1 game away from returning to the finals. Let's take a look at sideboards here. Rico's sideboard got lots of tools for different matchups. I'm not sure what he brings in here. Like maybe he wants Pillage. Maybe he wants like Bombing Ran or Conquer Dawn. Maybe he wants another Force Lightning. Hard to tell. I don't know how many of these things are like super relevant in this matchup. On Majar's side, he's got a lot of stuff for like Kylo matchups with the Parliamentarians and the Bamboozles. Might bring in Waylays, might bring in the other Falcon, might bring in Sparks. We'll see, I guess. It didn't take too long on the sideboarding, so perhaps not that much is coming in. And we're getting into game 2 here. Again, the Grogu for Rico. It was a winning line last game. Ooh, hot shot, though. That's going to knock the Grogu out of the game before he can even do anything. Here comes a Yoda for UncleRico here. Interesting they went with Yoda and not Ezra, because assuming these guys are going to trade, the Ezra would survive. All right, Ezra coming down now. bit awkward here. Rico can't use all of his resources. But players are in a similar position. Both have a 3-5 on board. Majar is up a card, though, because of the Ahsoka discard. All right, Mundi comes down. Not Han2. So he's pretty much going to be the only card Rico plays this turn. But he does generate 2 more, which is nice. All right, here comes an Adi Galea for Majar, and then follows it up with an A-Wing. And then the Quinlan deploy. I guess he's playing for a force throw and wants to get as many units down as he can. Force throw is going to be pretty weak. It's just going to hit the 1-drop Force Lightning, which is going to put the villain card in the discard for future Anakins. 1 damage goes into the key. Quinlan goes into the base, and Mundi gets the target town. We can look at that hammerhead, which can be 4 damage to something. Kills either the A-Wing or the Addy. All right, just gonna slow roll it. Hit in with Ezra. Rigo's gonna spark rebellion here. I lean towards, I don't know. Luke or Hammerhead, I think, are both solid heads here. And then it being the Luke. Hammerhead can still kill the A-Wing, but is perhaps a bit less threatening than a Luke. I do think that was the right pick. Diaz, remember the Han can play the Luke for 6 here. All right, there's Hammerhead. Kills the A-Wing. Surprise strike. Gonna be 5 to base there with the Addy. And I think Majar is looking at just dropping a hot shot out of hand here. Onto this Quinlan. Yep. I believe Majar has got at least a couple more things in that resource row that can push damage. Might be a hot shot. I'm pretty sure there's a Cassian. So Majar's looking at potentially winning this turn. And Rico's got... Wait a minute. How does Rico have 2 Force Lightnings in hand? Let me check that list. Yeah, he's only got 2 in there and 1 got discarded earlier. Yep. Yeah, there's 1 in the main, 1 in the side. All right. So yeah, there was a decklist error. Rico had too many copies of Force Lightning. I don't know if anything else is different. But they're basically just gonna call this game because it was effectively over, and Rico is going to grab the right list, and we're going to game 3. And it all comes down to this. Winner of this gets to go to the finals and play either Wayne or Gerald. Winner of that match. These decklist errors, they happen sometimes. It's no problem. We just have to, grab the right one. A tournament like this where there's not a ton of stakes, like, I'll be pretty lenient about it. At a PQ, you might get a game loss, but everybody makes these mistakes. It just happens. Right. Oh yeah, Enrico is gonna have to go through and sideboard here. Of course, that is allowed. So we'll see what he brought in. I guess he did bring in the other lightning. he did want multiple copies of it in, so I imagine we'll see that second one in there. On Majar's side, I don't know if we saw anything new out of the board there. I mean, we saw Spark Rebellion, but he does have 2 of that in the main. They're shuffling up. Folks, it all comes down to this. Bit of a weird hand for both players there. They're just wishing each other luck in the chat there. And, ooh, we might get... This is kind of rough for Rico. He's in a spot where his only turn 1 play is Ogdo Bogdo, which immediately is going to get target town. But it might be worth it just to force out the target town. All right, he went and passed. Is going to go and do that. And yep, it just gets target towned. It's a rough start. But an itinerant is definitely not a bad follow-up here. Red 5 is definitely a challenge, though. Rio does have a couple ways to get rid of it. He's got that takedown in hand. Which does get him extra damage from Addy, but probably worth it to kill that Red 5. I know, he is just going to kill the Addy, which means he does get the force right away, guaranteed. And the Red 5 is not going to be used here, it looks like. Going for Kira to try to stop a 4-drop play. And Rico picks takedown here, which means Red 5 is going to get an attack in. Clear that itinerant, but Rico does get a turret, which is definitely a good thing to have in this board state. Rico actually going to resource that Felder Dragon, keeping the takedown for a rainy day in case he can kill the Kira. No, okay, no, he's going to go back on that and resource the takedown. I think that's a wise move. All right, Turret just going to waste some time here. Go to the base. Quinlan is going to deploy. That sets up the Plo Koon, which can basically immediately snipe this turret with Quinlan ping. Boom, there he is. Mayor's thinking about it. Does he not see the line? Hiatus, yep. Turret's gone here. Leaving Rico with just a Han on board. We should have a hero unit. Yeah, he's the itinerant for the Anakin if he wants to go that route. That's an immediate answer to the Plow. And that's a big body on the board. Always having second thoughts. Yeah, he's just checking his discard, make sure he does have it. And yep, here's the Anakin. Clears the Plow. So Majar can effectively kill the Anakin here by going red 5 plus Quinlan attack. Rico's going to make that a bit more annoying by putting this damage on the Quinlan. Quinlan's actually just going to go to base. Majar's trying to win this race. So yeah, the Anakin can just clear either of these units, whatever one Rico chooses. It will die back, unfortunately. Rico's also got a force throw that he picked up here. Against Quinlan, usually it's not a smart move, especially in this board state, to do it on your opponent. They've got a lot of low-cost cards. But Rico can throw his own Fell the Dragon here to clear either Quinlan or red 5. Looks like he's going to do that. Yeah, exactly that, to kill the Quinlan. Oop, sorry about that. Actually, switched over to a different scene. So Quinlan goes back to the leader zone. 6 in there from a surprise strike. Rico is very close to just winning this one. Red 5 goes in there. Here comes a Yoda, which can potentially get some restore. But will it be enough? Falcon coming down. That's going to bring Rico to 26. Rico has to take initiative here because of the surprise strike also. I don't know if there's anything Rico can do about that surprise strike. Because the Yoda restore with initiative can bring him down to 24. Maybe I'm just going to show him the surprise strike. Some psychological warfare. And there... Is that them calling it? Looks like it is. All right, congratulations to Majar for taking it down here. He will be a finalist this season. I believe he's a previous winner. So he's going back to the ring. We'll see if it's against either Gerald or Wayun. Gerald, I know, is a previous winner. Wayun, I don't think is one. He might have made the finals. Let me check. He's definitely been a consistent topper, especially for the past few months. But yeah, Wayun is a previous finalist, season 12. All right. That's all I got for you. We'll see you. I think we just scheduled the next one for like Thursday, but it's Tuesday, right? Yep, Tuesday. And then on Thursday, yep, Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific. We're gonna weigh in on Gerald to see who Majar's opponent in the finals will be. Remember to always take the initiative.